PlayStation releases great games.
PlayStation.
Morning, good afternoon, or good bloody well evening, and welcome to CrossButton, our fortnightly deep dive into all things PlayStation. I am Dan, your host, your guide, even your muse for the next 30 minutes, and I'm giving my big, usual, energetic PS high five to the one resident pony this week. It is Shadowfax, Lord of the Ponies, Laurie. Hi, mate. You okay?
Hello, yeah, I'm good. I'm good, thank you, Dan, yeah.
Good. Episode 17.
They never said we'd make it this far.
Legal to drive. Technically, we can drive now as an episode. So big things. What car would we drive?
If we're 17?
No, if as the podcast like about
Oh, right, the
PlayStation.
podcast.
What car would you say?
Oh, a Tesla. Why not?
That'll fucking work. It's cool.
See if we can get Musk to send us one. We keep talking about Teslas. You know, stop being sponsored by bloody ball shavers and stuff. Let's get a Tesla sent.
Yeah, that's it. Let's go big. Big will go home, quite literally. And shave our balls, ironically, with our Manscaped products, which we're no longer sponsored by. So, there we go.
But they are still great products.
They are great. I still use them, mate. My balls are... Anyway, what we were talking about balls before, and let's leave that out there. What have you been playing, mate?
Oh, straight in there. Okay, what have we been playing? Okay, so don't shout at me, Dan, because I haven't been playing it on PS5, but it is a PS5 game. I've been playing A Plague Tale Requiem. Yes, which is not... I'm not playing on PS5, but I understand the Xbox and PS5 versions are very similar. I'm actually playing on my Series S, where it's a bit of a step down. It's a bit of a downgrade, I'm noticing. The game is good. Mm-hmm. I like it. I don't love it. Yeah, it's good. It's tough because I played Innocence, which is the first one, and this is now Requiem, is part 2. I don't know why they just could call them 1 and 2, but there they are. I played Innocence on PS5 when it came out on PS Plus, and it was the upgraded version, which had 60 frames per second and high resolution. Yeah. So to now play the sequel, which is like, I feel like my eyes aren't working. It's so soft focused and.
Oh really? Okay.
Yeah, I think it's 900p on Series S.
Wow. Okay.
It's very low res, and the frames per second are 30 frames per second, and I don't know if the kind of animation, just the sort of frames in it, just feels very sort of sluggish. It kind of, when she runs, it's kind of like running in slow motion. It's how it feels, and I don't know if the Xbox Series X or the PS5 versions, well, I mean, they will obviously run better than the Series S one does, but I understand from the reviews and the general commentary that they're not great either, which is not a great look, I think, when you play the original on PS5 and it's at 60 frames per second and 4K, and then the sequel comes out and that's at, I think it's 1440p and still 30 frames per second, and it's like, okay, they've made the very kind of beautiful levels, the scenery is very impressive, there's lots of kind of things floating in the air, like it looks very pretty, but God, game developers, just don't make your game look so pretty if it has to then run at a low resolution and a low frame rate. It's just not, you can't choose from a performance or graphics mode. It's just neither. So
strange.
Yeah, that's for people that care about that sort of thing, then this is not the game to play right now. I don't know if they're going to patch it or whatever.
Well, it's evidently bothered you that much, that you've noticed it, and it's the first thing you've kind of said about the game. But they've got some tech in it, haven't they, where the rats that you can get so many on screen at once. Does it lag at all, or is it just visually it's not as striking as the first one for you?
Yeah, there's some scenes where like, all hell breaks loose and there's like thousands of rats, and it is impressive. But on the Series S, it does turn into a bit of a slideshow when that happens. It does really
okay.
Yeah, really chug around. So she's trying to move the camera around, and I'm trying to like hang on the game too much. And I do love the game, the first game, and I do like this one. The setting and the story and the kind of the puzzle mechanics and the gameplay is pretty cool. But that is just what's hitting me in the kind of first impressions, because it wasn't that long ago I played the first one, and then this one. for stuff. And this is going to make me sound like a huge Sony fanboy, but this is a PlayStation podcast, so fuck it. Having just played The Last of Us Part 1, finished that like a week or two ago, you really can tell the gulf in quality between Naughty Dog and like every other developer. Because it's a similar sort of game where you are, you and a companion, third-person action adventure game, quite sort of closed environments, not open world. And the gulf in kind of the writing and the kind of direction of all the kind of cutscenes and the kind of transitions between action and cutscenes, and just the gameplay and just the fidelity of it is just it's a huge gulf in that, and so that's why I think it's I feel like it's hard. So I will stick with it, and I'm sure I'll get used to it the more of it I play. But yeah, I'm certainly missing the PS5 at the moment. So, sorry, Alex.
It's actually quite civil for us for once, so I haven't spat yet, so it's fine when we've mentioned the Xbox. How's it rated? I'm just trying to look and play.
Pretty good, I think. It's pretty decent reviews. I think mid-80s, I think, on Metacritic. And some people I sort of mentioned similar sort of commentary to this in a tweet earlier today, and people saying, "Not stick with it. The story gets really good." That's my other criticism at the moment. Trying to think what I can say about spoiling things. It's all a bit random what you're doing. It's all a bit. There isn't a strong drive. You seem to just get sent off on what essentially fetch quests, and you have to go and you go off and to try and get something, and it takes you sort of a couple of hours to get there and back. And whilst you're doing it, kind of all hell breaks loose and rats come out from everywhere, and there just seems to constantly be people trying to kill you, and it's like, why are people trying to kill her? Like, again, now we've gone somewhere new compared to the first game, and it seems weird, and she's just very happy to just kill people with rocks. She's a bit insane, to be honest, because there's people that don't seem to be giving her too much grief, and she's just like, fucking get out of my way, rock to the head, or just devour you with rats and stuff. It's just all a bit kind of doesn't make much sense narratively, which, I mean, you need to suspend your disbelief a little bit, because the whole story is just very fantasy kind of craziness.
Yeah, but still, I think
I feel like I'm hating on this. I do really like the game, and I do really like the series, and I'm assured that it does hit its stride the further you get through it. So I do. I don't want to be completely negative on the game. I think it is good, and I didn't pay for it. I'm playing it on Game Pass, but I would if I didn't have an Xbox, I probably would have picked it up on PS5 at launch, because it's very good.
Cool.
It's a good series. It did review well, so I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. I think it is just the Series S. I mean, this is a topic for another podcast. If only we had an Xbox One. Like, should these games even be out on Series S? These are too many compromises to get it to run. I don't know. That's a topic for someone else.
I am thinking of proposing a bit of a topic for our November specials, where we have a debate between the buttons and the X players, to try and spur on something. And I think it would be quite good just to review where both consoles are at now in their lifespan, and then debate between both groups who thinks who's doing the best. But also, I think the Series S argument at the moment seems to be cropping up quite a bit, especially online, where this isn't shit on it, because I absolutely adored my Series S. I did trade it in the end for an X, but
it's so much I kept it for all of a day.
Yeah,
and traded it in.
literally that one.
It's cooled down.
I think I played it for about 2 hours and that was it. But it seems to be getting quite a lot of heat from developers, where they're criticising it as well, saying it's actually holding back the generation. I don't know if you've seen too much about that online, but it's quite interesting. But maybe let's save that for November.
Yeah,
and I think that'll be a good one to fight about.
Well, we can kind of come back to that when we talk about Ragnarok, either later on today or next time.
Yeah, we definitely can.
It's a similar kind of PS4. Is that holding the game back?
Yeah,
there, but
very true.
But anyway, yeah, Plague Tale Requiem. It's good. I wouldn't recommend it on Series S if you have our option, but I do think I am enjoying it. I do think it's a good game.
Good.
It's very much a 7 out of 10 for me right now.
Okay, cool, decent.
Maybe a 6.
So I haven't played the first. I need to jump into it, so I'll give it a go. Okay, so I've been playing a bit of Persona 5 Royal. Like I said, admittedly on the Switch, but I did play that on the PlayStation whilst it was a...
I think we played the PlayStation this week. Oh god.
No, I haven't. The novelty of having it on Switch, like obviously, it's something that's well documented on the podcast that we've had anyway.
Yeah, you have mentioned it once or twice.
Just a couple of times, yeah, just a handful. So I've been pretty happy to be playing that, and like I said, even just the opening kind of montages on it, it runs really well. So it's definitely a viable option to play it on Switch. It's not quite as good looking, but I think it's only marginal.
It's not a graphically kind of intensive game, is it?
Well, it was on PS3 as well, Persona 5. So
What?
I'm pretty
PS3?
sure it was. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was.
Yeah.
No, I'm pretty sure it was. Hold on. PS3 Persona 5. Yep. You can get it on PS3. It came out on PS3 as well. So it's £32.17 on Amazon if anybody wants to go and pick up Persona 5 for the PS3. So none of that poncy Xbox, PlayStation 5, Switch stuff that's just happened. You can still go back and get a version that would run on that monstrosity of a console.
I think playing on the PS3 now, I feel like would be a real struggle because it's like the PS5 is so refined and so good, and the Dualsense is so good. And going back to PS4, I think would be a struggle. But if picking up a PS3
it's horrible.
and trying to play that,
Yeah, going back to the DualShock, just in general, DualShock 2 is just horrendous. Like the PS4, like it's not great. It feels so flimsy.
I sold my PS3 to my brother-in-law, and I'm fairly sure he won't have played it in years, so maybe I should get it back off him.
Yeah, you do that. Get Persona 5 on it, test it out. There you go. See what the war is. But other than that, I've not really been playing too much. I've just been watching shows and keeping my head down with work. So there you go. A bit of FIFA, but nothing really.
What have you been watching? Let's just go a bit off topic. What have you been watching?
So Soph started watching The Sandman tonight, so I haven't watched any of it, but she's watched 2 episodes, so I need to go and catch a bit of that later. So probably catch up with her and watch those. I've been watching Welcome to Wrexham. Been furiously bidding on Wrexham FC shirts on eBay for the last 2, 3, 4 days. So I finished that season, which is probably one of the better documentaries that I've seen in a couple of years.
Playing as them in FIFA?
Yes, I've been doing that as well, which is quite cool. Having Ted Lasso on the side as well is quite cool. So
yeah.
Ted Lasso managing Wrexham FC
versus Wrexham.
Yeah,
managing Wrexham. Okay,
yeah. I know, it was crazy. So you can do that, which is cool. So been watching Wrexham. We've finished Rings of Power, which probably give 6.5, 7 out of 10. Like it was fine. It just wasn't great. There was nothing apart from one episode, which I won't give any spoilers for. Most people that watched.
Should I just watch that one episode? I watched the first one. Was kind of very bored for it. I was like, oh, this reminds me. I didn't enjoy watching The Hobbit.
Yeah, it's just not great exposition. Like they're just trying to do too much with the characters, but not in an interesting way. And I think some of the dialogues is very wooden, and it shines when it uses Tolkien's language and uses Tolkien's script. Well, not script, but writings. And sadly, that doesn't happen very often. So, plus,
have you watched Andor?
You know what? I've watched the first 3 episodes of Andor and I left it because I was finishing off Game of Thrones, or at least trying to keep up with Game of Thrones and Rings of Power. So just finished episode 3, and I'm like, this is the best Star Wars TV show I think I've ever watched. And I'm really, really, really enjoying it. And the amount
There's
of
a lot of stuff out at the moment, isn't it, to watch?
Oh, it's horrendous.
There's a lot of stuff to watch.
It's like
Get anyone keep up with it all.
Even that, and then you juggle in stuff like people probably laughing at it, juggling like Strictly Come Dancing and Great British Bake Off, and then all of the other shows that are on at the moment. It's really bloody difficult. Like we've had to drop about 3 shows and just go, we're not going to watch them this year, just to try and keep up with everything. But admittedly, Andor took the chop for the first couple of weeks because I was like, I'll get round to that, and I'm really regretting that I did. And just the amount of good actors that are in it is insane. It's so good. Like every single scene has got at least one person you recognise and go, oh, they're nailing it. Like Trevor from EastEnders is in it, and you go like, how the fuck's he in it? And he's awesome. Have you seen it yet?
No, I watched the first episode and I kind of was like, yeah, but saying that it's just too much to watch right now. I'll put this to one side, and when it's all out, I'll just kind of binge it when I can watch it all in one go. But yeah, I was a bit burned out on all the Star Wars stuff because there's just so much of it. And I said I won't, not in any huge rush to watch this. So I'm pleased that it is really good and has been getting really good word of mouth, and people have been, yeah, just friends have been telling me to watch it as well. So yeah, I'm looking forward to actually went down and being able to watch the whole thing, or the whole rest of it, apart from series episode 1.
Yeah, talk about that in the future. But what we will talk about right now, Ragnarok. So a lot of previews have come out. I've listened to a couple of podcasts where people are exceptionally positive about it. I think they're able to talk about the first 5 hours or so of the game, and just give their initial opinions of it. And whilst people are saying it's more of the same, they're also saying that quite a lot has changed within the mechanics of the game, and the traversal feels a lot more refined compared to what it did in the last one. I don't know whether or not you've absorbed much, read much, listened to much about it.
Yeah, I read a few of the previews. I didn't want to read like all of them because I don't like when some of them I was reading. I was like, yeah, this is getting a bit too much information. Just tell me like how excited I need to be for this.
Yeah.
Don't need to go into all the details. Just tell me, how excited should I be for it? How much new stuff is there? Don't tell me what new stuff there is. Just is there new stuff? Yeah, it's a fine line, I think. For only writing a preview, I think, is a hard thing to do well without just telling everyone exactly what you saw and stuff. It's only
rare.
Few writers, I think, are really good at doing it.
Yeah, it's rare that publishers do this as well with their games. Like, they're this confident already to go, yeah, you can have it 3-4 weeks before we even release it. Get to grips with it.
Yeah, because they're
thoughts
reviewing it at the moment, aren't they? And they're basically, you said, right, you can review the whole game now, and just if you want to talk about the first 5 hours, when you're ready to talk about that, do that. And then I'm guessing the reviews are going to drop fairly early for this one.
Yeah, I can imagine. So.
I'm sure they will have focus grouped it before, and they know kind of what to expect when it comes to review scores. It's going to be kind of 9s and 10s and some 8s, and there'll be someone who wants to get lots of engagement on Twitter that will give it a 5 or something. It's just to annoy people, and good for them.
We should do it
because it works every time. Yeah, we should. Yeah,
do it a minute after the embargo hits. Just go, we haven't played it, but we think it's going to be crap, so therefore we're giving it a 1 out of 10, and then just wait for people to start caning us online. So.
And they realise we're not on Metacritic, and about okay.
Yeah,
it's
they're irrelevant.
It's
fine. It's okay.
But yeah, it's really good. One of the things I read is that there's lots more enemy variety.
Yes,
because that was a complaint in the first game. Because you only kind of 5 or 6 different things you're fighting. And I replayed the first God of War a couple of months ago. I'm writing a thing about it for Lost in Cold. Now the next volume of that, I've got a feature in it about the first game. So I replayed the whole thing. And I just played it on story mode just because I wanted to get the story. And yeah, played with the whole game in about 10 hours. And you realise there are very few enemies, actual different types. And you do see a lot of the same big trolls with a big column of stone that he whacks you with.
Yeah.
And one of the previews said there's more enemy variety in the first 5 hours of this new game than there is in the entire of the first game. So I was like, oh, that's good. Because that's one of the things that bugged me.
Yeah. I don't think there's too much else that I want to know about it. Like you've said, I think as long as there's positives to be said around the improvements in the game and isn't just a reskinned version of the last one, then I'm going to be relatively happy. It's going to look gorgeous. There'll be refinements to it. I think it'll sing on the PS5. So, yeah. Roll around release day.
And that's to pick up on that point from earlier. I saw someone commented saying, "Oh, it feels like a PS4 game still." I was like, "Well, yeah, it is cross-gen. It's got to be able to play on PS4. So, what do you expect? It's like Horizon, It's but it's a PS4 game that runs at 60 frames per second and in 4K, and to be honest, and with haptic feedback and stuff. And that's kind of what I want. Like PS4 games are gorgeous. Like just make those gorgeous games, but make them in 4K, 60 frames per second with all the haptics and adaptive triggers, because that all stuff's all great and it's all very immersive, and the 3D audio. Like it doesn't need to look any different to a PS4 game, and that's kind of what I wish the Plague Tale developers just make it look. Make it run brilliantly, and then worry about how it looks. That's the key thing. Don't make it look any better if it's compromising how well it performs.
No, definitely. And I thought, I remember seeing Ragnarok's got like a 120 frames per second mode or something, which you can play, which is pretty insane. So, crazy. Yeah, it's gonna be amazing.
The first God of War on PS4, how much it made that fan
nearly took off, didn't it? Even on the PS4 Pro, it was like it did not enjoy it at all. It was bullying the the PS4 Pro.
Yeah, having replayed the first one, I'm really excited because this is such a good game, and it's the characters are so brilliantly written and so
Oh, gotcha.
likable and lovable, and just the way they write Kratos, just the way that he's like his little put downs for Mimir and stuff. It's that banter between them. I hate that word, but that the exchanges between them are so witty and clever and smart and satisfying to listen to and to witness and stuff. So I'm just looking forward to another 15 to 20 hours of that, frankly.
Yeah, completely. And if you want anything in between, there's a couple of games that have released in October thus far. We've had Overwatch 2 on the 8th. We've got PGA Tour 2K23, that was on the 14th. Plague Tale Requiem, like Laura was talking about, came out on the 18th. And one for quite a few Modern Warfare fans, Modern Warfare 2 is out on the 28th. I remember the Modern Warfare, I remember playing that game, the campaign in it, not especially bothered about Call of Duty. I've dived into Warzone a couple of times, so I might try and pick that back up. But yeah, Modern Warfare 2 seems to be very, very popular with a lot of people. Okie dokie, mate. So I think we were going to jump into our topic, which we're kind of aware at the moment that Sony's doing consumers maybe a little bit dirtier than others and seems to be charging over and above what people have been expecting for certain things. So we've had the recent, obviously well-documented increase of the console. So in the UK, it went up by 30 quid and then 50 euros in Europe as well. So from £480 to so it went up to £480 and then 390 quid for the disc version as well. Discless version, I should say. And obviously then this week we've had the Dualsense Edge come out. Just reading pushsquare.com where it says the Dualsense Edge got a release date earlier this week, but real headline was its price tag. Realistically, we were expecting the Pro PS5 pad to sell for around about 150 quid or so. That's pretty much the standard cost of comparable controllers, but it's actually going to be more expensive. It's been pegged at $199.99 or €239.99 / £209.99. And it says, and that ain't cheap, but I think that goes without saying it. Push Square then published a poll on the subject. They asked the community if they plan on buying one. And now that we know what's going to cost, and the results of the poll were not very pretty. Close to 4,000 votes were cast, and a near majority, 46%, said that they weren't at all interested in controller. I think
I put myself in that one, especially at that price point. I think even if you knock off 60 quid, it's still a tough sale for me at 150 quid, to be honest. It ain't pretty.
So everything I've seen online has just been, because it was, I think I saw like the IGN UK sales kind of Twitter handle just kind of posted up, it's going to be available on this date for this price, and I shared it in our group, and I was just like, that's a lot of money for a controller, £210 near enough, when the comparable ones for the Xbox, like I said, the Elite 2 that I bought, the Halo Special Edition one was 150, I think it was. And then you can get one of the Elite 2s, but it's like a lesser version. I can't remember what it's called, but it might just be called the Elite 2. And I'm sure that's 50 quid cheaper, than that. And you think, well, if Xbox are releasing these controllers for it, why is Sony making anything different? Or who's making the decisions at Sony to go, oh yeah, we need to make this a hell of a lot more premium? That's basically, a third of the cost of the console. So
yeah, and I mean, the DualSense is so good already, and that's £60. That seems alright. That seems pretty reasonable. £60 gets a good high tech controller. It's got all sorts of clever gizmos inside it, and I just don't see what this one does that makes it nearly 4 times as expensive, or 3.5 times more as expensive. It seems nuts to me. What does it do to justify that extra cost? And I just have to conclude it's not really doing anything to justify more than, say, double the cost, but even that would be a push. But I think the rest of it is just a premium for the people that want that kind of pro type experience, the people that I think, I'm a professional elite gamer and I want the best of it and stuff. And then you see the trailer and there's people like playing God of War. It seems like the triggers are going to help you beat that game any better or be more of a pro at that game. And you're just like, this is just such marketing bullshit to appeal to people with more money than sense, or that really do see themselves as the kind of top tier of gamers that insist on having this sort of stuff.
It doesn't even
and
look
I
any
think
different. That's the part. It's like, okay, yeah, aesthetically the actual front is slightly changed, but there's not, other than a couple of the paddles on there and a couple of the things that can be removed and then put back on. Yeah, you're just getting a very nice carry case with it. Do you know what I mean? It just doesn't feel premium enough for 210 quid. Really weird.
I really like that story that you have of your mate who, when you met up in person for some gaming session, and he brought his Xbox Elite one in its carry case, and you just all took the piss out of him, and it's just like, that is what would happen, I think, if you had this, and you turn up at your mate's house with like this special case, and like, imagine like everyone else is going to go, ooh, but in reality, because this is Britain, everyone's like, what the fuck is that, mate, you prick? What?
Most people aren't going to know. That's the thing, is like, who is it for? Because it can't be for the child there that's wanting something at Christmas because it's too expensive now. Is it for our age group, our demographic? Okay, yeah, the Elite 2 appealed to me, but I really like the Halo aesthetics. That made sense. I was like, I'll pick that up when the game comes out. I was excited for Infinite. But the Pro, they haven't even released one in line with Ragnarok, which was the game that they were showing in the trailer for it. You know what I mean? They've only released a standard Dualsense with the stupid little logo in the middle of it, with the two walls. So I don't know. It's just a really, really strange decision. But I think the worrying part is, whilst a lot of other console manufacturers, Xbox, Microsoft, are obviously looking at value, it does feel like Sony just aren't like giving any sort of consideration to the consumer. And it does seem to be a little bit of a trend. We've had game prices increase, we've had console prices increase, we've also now had peripherals come out that are over and above. Hopefully the trend breaks at some point.
Well, I mean, it's not going to break before PSVR 2 comes out. Don't want to burst your bubble there, but yeah, that is going to be, I'd kind of assumed in my head maybe sort of £400 or £500 it was going to be around that sort of mark, around the same as what the console cost. But having seen the fact that they're charging 200 quid just for a controller, and this PS4 headset is very high tech, and it comes with 2 controllers. I'm kind of thinking it's probably, if it was more like £500 to £600, that wouldn't surprise me. And I think they would have a big problem on their hands if they do that, because a lot of people are just going to be like, no mate, there's no way. And if they want VR to be like a mass market consumer product that lots of people will buy, in the same way that PSVR 1, you could do it kind of not as an impulse buy, but you could tempt people into buying that. I think if it does come out and it's like over £500, then people are just going to be like, nah, you're okay.
Yeah, we'll see. And that is your lot. Oh, you're gonna go. No, go on.
No, I had just one final point on that. Oh, sorry, I feel just a final point. I wonder, just in, not to defend Sony here, but how much of it is that they're a Japanese company and Microsoft an American company, and obviously the American dollar is super strong at the moment. They could be like, no, we don't need to put our prices up. Everyone, we're making loads of money selling our stuff around the world. Whereas Sony in Japan, the yen is kind of weaker against the dollar now. They're also, PlayStation is their cash cow. So if the yen is weak, they need to kind of protect their bottom line, and they just know that PlayStation is popular enough that they can get away with doing this and protect their profit margin and kind of recoup some of the loss that the currency fall inflicts on them. So I don't know, that's my kind of business currency kind of head. I could be talking completely out of my arse, some complete bullshit, but I just wonder if that's part of the dynamic, is that partly Microsoft are a fucking $1 trillion company that don't need to worry about profit margins, and they can sell stuff at a loss if that's what it takes, because they'd be like, yeah, who cares? Whereas Sony much more need to look at the profit margin they're making on this stuff and try and make it as big as possible, because the whole of Sony now is dependent on PlayStation's profit.
100%. And I think just to add to that, you're 100% right. I think in terms of like currency, but also I think the reason that the price increase it was given for it was the availability of chipsets and just how difficult it is to pick up, certain aspects of a console manufacturer or manufactured items that are within it. So I get it. It's like we should really be happy about it from an early adopter perspective, because really we're not the ones that are being penalised. It's the guys that are picking them up at Christmas this year, or maybe the kids are coming of age and they're going, they want a PS5 now. Like, they're the people that are sadly paying for the pain of the last couple of years.
Yeah, usually you pay that tax, don't you, as an early adopter? You just accept that you're going to pay a premium on it.
It's come the other way around, which is a bit strange, but yeah, and obviously it's well documented as well that everything from transport costs to fuel to electrics to everything is going up at the moment. But the problem is you're kind of hoping just for someone to be a bit of a pariah and pass that saving, or sorry, not that saving, but not pass the impact of an increase over to the consumer and maybe absorb it a little bit in what they're doing. However, sadly, Sony haven't been that guy, but we'll see. Anything else on that, mate?
No, I will not interrupt you as you try and close off. So yeah, that was it. Thank you.
Always a 1 second delay. It's fine. But that is your lot for this week, finally. Thanks for joining us on a fortnightly adventure. If you want any MOAR of this ruckus or even podcasts about other consoles and a separate Xbox podcast, see, I got it wrong. Even I can't even say it properly. Head on over to thecrossplayers.com, and if you click the Discord link, you can find all of our rowdy bunch lurking about in there. If you want to go a whole step further, head on over to patreon.com/thecrossplayers, and you can throw some cash to us. We have some banging teas available via the Patreon, and we also have the ability for you to join our WhatsApp group from as little as £2. Laurie, pleasure as ever, mate.
Thank you.
Cool. And remember, play cross.
Button.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.